absolute favorite. I think it's just a ton of fun. I'm going to go ahead and go to the website tab and use the view my site so that you guys can see your site on the front end. Now there are a couple of things in here, like you might want to maybe change this. It might just be that I'm zoomed in too much.
No, it was doing that on mine too. So I think we need to scale the picture down a little bit before and then upload a different one.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. We can get rid of this text over the image. I'm going to show you how you can do that. I'm also going to show you guys today how to update any of these areas of information on your homepage, how to update any of these quick links. Holy cow, you guys have already been adding stuff to your calendar. Has that process been easy for you?
Oh, I did it before I even did the social training on Tuesday, so I had already taught myself how to do that. So super duper easy.
Well, you are just a superstar. That is awesome. I'm really excited, and you did it. I mean, everything looks absolutely perfect. Oh, you even added the, you're so good. You're so good. That's awesome. So I would actually usually go over this today, but I mean, you're doing this perfect. So I don't think I can mention anything here. This looks awesome. I'm going to show you where you can update your footer info, how to update quick links, all this kind of fun stuff today. So let's go ahead and dive in. We're really going to be focusing under our website tab today. And so I'm just going to be using our website tab over here next to our little house icon. The first thing I want to talk about is your media manager. So the media manager in MemberClicks is just like an in-house file store. Anytime you want to add an image to an article or link to a document, you'll first need to add that document or image to the media manager. Going in this media manager, you'll notice we've already got a documents folder and an images folder created for you. You can create submenus if you want to at any time, just by going into one of the menus already created, typing in a new folder name. So maybe it would be like sponsor logos. There cannot be any special characters or spaces. And now we have a new folder that's been created for us that we can go into. So that's just to help with a little bit of organization. I think you can have 3 levels of folders in the media manager. I would suggest to not really mess with this site folder unless you want to change the hero image. And so anytime you add an image into the site folder and you name it hero.jpg, that is what becomes the hero image on the front of your website. So you guys can change this out yourselves really easily. What I would suggest is deleting the image out first, clearing your cache, then adding the new image called hero.jpg, and then clearing your cache again. Sometimes it can take about 10 minutes for that change to reflect on the front of the site. The reason you have to clear your cache here is because for some reason it tries to remember the old image, and so that's why I suggested that. But yeah, but it's as easy as that to change that hero image there. And then you guys kind of have free range of any of these other folders in here. So to add an image, this is actually going to there we go. It'll say upload. You'll just choose the folder you want to upload your image into or document, select upload, and then you can just add our item from here. So I'm just going to go ahead and add in our Go Live checklist. I'm going to select that document, open it, and now it is inside of that folder for you to access from anywhere within the site. I'm going to show you how to access this media manager when we create articles in just a bit, but just kind of wanted to show you where you can add items into. Any questions on this?
No.
Wonderful. So now I'm going to go back into the website tab, and this time we're going to go ahead and look at our widgets. Widgets are what allows our website to be responsive. So if somebody's looking at your site on a cell phone, having those different widgets allows kind of those different areas to stack on top of each other, and so your members don't lose any functionality of the website. They still have full functionality. They can still click on everything, view the full menu, which is a great, since so many people are using their cell phones and tablets these days, it's such an important piece of a website. So we're going to go ahead and dive into these widgets that we have here. Now, the widgets that we have are listed in different areas and they serve different purposes. So let's talk about kind of these one at a time, and we're just going to work our way down the list. The first is our member landing page, My Name Is. So your members, when they log into the website, will be automatically brought to a member landing page. So they'll log in, and then they'll be greeted with this member landing page. It'll have this name tag. It'll have a member menu, which we're going to talk about, and then it'll have a little paragraph of information that is actually pulling from an article that's already created in the site. We will also talk about that in a little bit. This name tag, we actually can use data merge tools to data merge in your members' information from their profile. So for example, instead of having somebody's name, we can come to the bottom of our editor and choose merge data, and we can choose somebody's contact name. So any of those attributes that we have in our system would be inside of here. So now when they come to the site, instead of seeing obviously Kelly, they're going to see their name, which will be merged in from their profile. Same thing with like the organization. Just choose the organization attribute. And then same thing with member type. You can change these to whatever fields you want data merged in on this name tag for them. This is just typical of what I see. Any questions on this?
No.
Awesome. Our next is our homepage main, homepage left, and homepage right. And so these are going to be homepage main, homepage left, and homepage right. If you wanted to update any of these fields, and I would actually suggest that you guys get in here and kind of do this after our training today. It helps with knowledge retention, gets you familiar with these different areas. Plus, these are really easy areas to update. You just go into homepage main if you want to update that main paragraph of information. I'm going to teach you a little bit more about how to use this editor in a second, but I am not a, what am I trying to say? I am not a designer girl. That's just not my background, and I find our editors extremely easy to use. And so it's kind of just like typing in a Word document. It's really just as easy as that. I am going to teach you some more of the kind of special pieces that are unique to MemberClicks in just a bit, though. So that's that homepage main, and then homepage left and homepage right look the exact same way. I'm also going to teach you how to make these buttons here in just a minute as well. So if you guys can go ahead and update those 3 pieces of information after our training today, before the next time we meet, that would be awesome. Any questions on those 3 pieces?
Nope.
Awesome. So then we've got our member landing quick links. I don't know. That's different. Let me see where that's pulling in at. That's something I don't normally see. I wonder, member landing page quick links. I wonder if you guys had a special quick links menu on your member landing page. Let me look at something really fast. Bear with me for 2 seconds. I'm wondering exactly where that's pulling into. Okay, let's see if we can. I don't want a prospect, I want an admin. Look at your picture in there. I'm so impressed with you guys. I cannot tell you enough. I don't know. I'm going to have to ask my designer about that. That's kind of weird. I haven't seen that added. It might have been a special. We will come back to that one. Skip that for now. So skip the member landing quick links. I'm not exactly sure what that is. It's published, but I'm not seeing anything that looks abnormal. So we'll come back to that a little bit later. Sponsor slider images. This is how you're going to add logos to that sponsor slideshow. And so that's going to populate right down here in the bottom right-hand corner. These images need to be 220 by 220. Do you all have a photo editor that you like to use already?
Yeah, we use Photoshop.
Okay, awesome. And so when you add in logos into this area, they already need to be the 220 by 220 size. And you'll just add them right next to each other. So just like these two example images in here, which will also remind you of the size that they need to be. You'll notice that there's no spaces between them. There are no gaps or anything like that. So if we wanted to add a new image, we would just want to make sure that our cursor is lined exactly right back up to the last image that was put into the system. And then we're just going to add a new image by coming to the bottom of our editor, selecting our image button down here at the bottom. And then this is a mini media manager. So this is how we can access any of those files. We would just select that image that is the 220 by 220 size, insert. Of course, this is not the correct size, but we would want to put it right back to back with that first or last image that we had in here. Did that process make sense?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. We have our hero image, so this is just going to be the text over the hero image. It looks like this is something you guys will probably not want to use because your hero image already has text on it. So this is a great example. If there's a widget that you no longer want to use, you can just unpublish it. Our footer info, that's just going to be the footer information at the very bottom of your website, so that one's pretty easy. So if you wanted to edit that footer information, you can just come right into this widget. And then lastly, we have our member landing page, custom login page content lower half and custom login page content top half. I would say the majority of my associations do not use these widgets. If you wanted to, I just want to show you where it will reflect. When your members get ready to log into your site, they're going to see this exact page pop up. That member login page content top half and lower half gives you the ability to add text either above this login section or below the login section. And so the only time I've really seen this is if you guys wanted to say, not a member, join today by clicking here and then like a link to your membership application. Otherwise, I would traditionally see that just kind of left blank.
Okay.
And that wraps up all of our individual widgets. Do you guys have any questions on any of these that we reviewed, minus this kind of weird one that I'll have to take a look at separately? We good?
I think we're good. Yep.
Awesome. Okay, great. So then the next thing that we want to talk a little bit about is how we're going to create articles and then link those articles to the main menu of your website. It's definitely a multi-step process. We're about to click a lot of buttons together, but once you've done it a couple of times, it'll just become second nature. So the first thing that we have to do is create the article. So first we have to create the article on the back end of the site. Once we've created the article on the back end of the site, then we can actually link it to one of our menu items. So we're going to begin by going to Website and Articles. Now, any articles that exist in here already, you can just select that article and update that information. So the member landing page, this is what your members will see once they've logged in, right? This is going to be underneath that name tag image. If you wanted to update this information, you can just dive in here and begin updating. To create a new article, you're actually going to be using these icons up here in the top right-hand corner. The icons that you will be using most often is Move to Trash. So if we wanted to move something to trash, we would tag it and move to trash. If we accidentally moved something to the trash, we can always view our trash and restore. You may want to copy an article. You can tag, publish, and unpublish, although I prefer just double-clicking on the published green bar or double-clicking on the red unpublished bar. So that's just really easy if you're working on some content, but you're not quite ready to release it yet. You can just have it unpublished and then come through and republish them. And then the icon that we'll be using together today is this plus sign to create a new article. So we're going to go ahead and select new. We will want to name our article. So I'm going to call this members only. Maybe this is some members only content. You'll notice that our alias auto-populates. The alias is a direct link to access this page. So if we went to msca.memberclicks.net/members-only, that would take us directly to this article. Does that alias make sense? We're going to see this again when we get to our forms training.
Perfect, yes.
Awesome. And then what I always like to do is just copy and paste my article into the WYSIWYG editor itself. Now, there are a couple of things we can do here. A lot of this is going to be stuff that you already know how to use, so I'm not going to recap those items. You know, things like bolding, italicizing, underlining, strike-throughs, alignments. I'm sure you all have used these before. You can also change your font family, the font size, the font color, or highlight colors. But I would suggest not using any of these custom pieces. The reason why is because we have these formatted fonts in this drop-down for you. I would always use these for two reasons. A, consistency, right? If you use heading 1, you know heading 1 is going to look the same on every single article. 2, if you all ever go through a rebranding process or you just want to freshen up the website and change your colors, you can send us the new colors that you want applied on the website. We're going to update those colors for you, and anywhere that you've used any of these formatted headings, they're going to auto-populate with the new colors. So you're not going to have to go into every single page and update the colors and branding of your site. It's just going to all happen automatically.
Got it, okay.
A couple other things that are a little bit different is adding images. So we already did that when we were looking at our slider images, but just to recap, I'm going to come to the bottom of our editor, select the image button, and let me back up for a second. We always want to place our cursor where we want the image to populate. So wherever you want the image to populate, place your cursor there first. Then come to the bottom of the editor, select image. Here comes that mini media manager again, that in-house file store. We can choose any of our images, select the image, and insert. Now, in this case, the image is too large. You may not like the relationship between the text and the image. So in order to make those changes, you'll highlight that image. Now you will be tempted to resize your images using these white boxes in the corners of the image. Do not resize your image that way. Instead, you're going to use this tiny tree icon, which is going to be highlighted up here for you at the top of the editor. We're going to look at our Appearance tab, and there are all kinds of fun things that we can change in here. My favorite piece of this is if you forget what all of these things do, we've got a small example in the right-hand corner that's going to show us exactly what we're doing to our article. So we can change our alignment. That's going to be how the text aligns with the image. My favorite is left, which is going to push the image left and wrap our text from top to bottom. The dimensions is what's going to allow us to change the size of our image. You'll notice that there's a constrained proportions box checked underneath this. And so I would suggest always keeping that constrained proportions box checked, because if I put one dimension in, the second dimension will autofill with whatever dimensions fit the proportions. Whereas if I uncheck it, I'm going to have to manually put in my own dimensions, and I have no idea what would keep this image from becoming distorted. So that's why we want to keep this constrained proportions box checked. I'm just going to guesstimate what I think this needs to be. Our vertical space is going to create a space cushion between the image and the text. So you'll notice in our example, we have now a space cushion between the text and image. Same with our horizontal space. Our border is going to create a very simple, just black border around our image. And then that's all that we can do in here to the appearance of our image. At this point, I'm going to update these changes. And now we'll be able to see that our image has been pushed left. We have that thin black border. We have that space cushion between our text and our image. And our image is starting up at the top of our, the text is starting up at the top of our image, and will work its way down as we type along the page. Any questions on how I did any of that?
Nope, pretty straightforward.
Awesome. There's a couple other things that I want to show you guys how to do, and that's how we're going to add internal links and external links. Internal links, we just want to select our text or highlight our text. For internal, we're coming to the bottom of the page and selecting site links. This is going to once again bring up that mini media manager, and we can link to anything within the site, any other articles, any of our community features, any menu items, any forms, any files, any of those events that you added to your event calendar. I'm going to go ahead and link to the event calendar as a whole, and I'm going to insert this link. And we'll change this back to our paragraph so you can kind of see. And then for our external links, same thing, we're going to highlight our text, but this time we're going to come to the top of the editor and choose this little tiny link up here. It even tells you that we're inserting or editing a link. I'm just going to link back to the home page of your site, and so we're just going to add the URL. And then what I would always suggest is instead of having this open in the same window as your website, since this is an external link, you don't want to navigate your members away from your website. So I would always suggest having this open up in a new window. That way they can still have your website up in one window and then the new link up in a separate window. Now, to look extra super fancy, anytime you've linked up an article, whether it's internal or external, anytime you've linked up anything, whether it's internal or external, if you highlight that linked up item and select heading 6 from your formatted fonts, it'll create that button for you in your website. Kind of cool. Awesome. Any questions? Yeah, any questions on internal links, external links, adding those buttons?
No.
Okay. Just to point out a couple of my favorite items in here. So if you guys do know HTML, we have an HTML editor. We do have spell check. In order to use our spell check, you have to highlight the text first and then choose spell check. This line is just a separator, and then an undo button, which of course is always nice. All of these items in here have to do with tables. I would not recommend using tables on the website because they are typically not responsive. So if somebody's looking at a specific page on your website that has a table included, everything's going to be an awesome user experience until they get to that page. And now they're all of a sudden having to kind of scroll all over the place in order to view the full table, which is obviously not a great experience for your members or even non-members. So I would suggest staying away from tables if at all possible. Okay. And that's really everything in our article manager. This is, all of these tools that we just reviewed are going to be the ones that you're using most often. The last thing we need to do once we're ready to save our article is select that group access. So all of your different member types will be listed in here once your database has been fully imported, and you'll actually get to select who gets to see what. And so since this was only members that can see this, we will check prospect and public and just leave your member types and then the admins with the ability to see this. If anybody could see this article, then we would just highlight everything. If we're creating a lot of changes and we're kind of toggling between the back end of the site and the front end of the site, you can always just hit apply. This will create the changes on the front end, but keep us in our article editor so that we can continue to make edits, so we can kind of check back and forth. If you're happy with the way the article looks and you're ready to kind of get away from this specific article, you can just hit save and it'll bring us back to the article manager. Now that is all we need to know on how to create articles. We're about to transition into learning how to add those articles to our menu items. Before I get there, any questions on creating new articles?
No.
Okay, you guys are making it too easy on me. So now we're going to go under website and we're going to go to menu items. So first we went to website articles, created the new article using the plus sign. Now that we're ready to add this article somewhere on the site and make it live to the public, we're going to go to website, menu items, we have an option. We can add this menu item to 3 different areas. We have a main menu, a social network menu, a member menu, and a quick links menu. So to review those different menu options, everything up here in the red at the top. Oh, cool. Did you guys create these to play around with?
No.
Huh. That's weird. What? That's so very bizarre. So everything up in this area will be the part of the main menu. That's kind of cool that I get to show you this. So you do have the ability, so my designer this might be something new he's doing. Your site does have the ability to house submenus and tertiary menus. After the tertiary menu level, you cannot have anything else. So you can't tree down into a 4th menu structure. Quick links menu, social network menu, and then the member menu, once again, is on the member landing page. For our example's sake, we're going to go ahead and add this to the main menu. So what you would do is ask yourself, what am I wanting to make a change to? Do I want to make an edit to the main menu, or do I want to make an edit to the quick links menu? Where do I want this article to be displayed? We're just going to go ahead and select main menu. And this is going to give us an outline of our menu structure. So we saw on the front end, there's the home tab, a sample tab, and then there's the sample 2 tab, which is the tertiary menu. You'll notice these icons look the same as they did in the article manager. So we're going to go ahead and select new, that plus sign, just like we did when we were ready to start or create a new article. Now this page looks a little bit different. So far what we've done is we've told the system, okay, we've got a new article, we want to add it somewhere. We want to add it to the main menu, and we want it to be a new menu item. But now we need to tell the system what type of menu item are we linking to. The most common that you'll be using is single article. That's what we just created together, was a single article. If you ever get in here and you see all this other stuff in here, just ask yourself, did we do anything fancy? We didn't create a front page blog. We didn't create a category blog. We didn't do any of this fancy stuff. We just created a single article together. So that's what you would select. You can also link directly to any of your community features, like that event calendar. Other would be things like direct links to external links. You can link to any forms. At some point when we begin creating directory searches, you can link to directly to directory searches. Database has things like my profile or maybe advanced searches. We're going to go ahead and select a single article. From here, we want to start our, from the top left-hand corner, work our way all the way down the left-hand column. Then we're going to start on the top of the right-hand column and work our way all the way through the right-hand column. So the first thing we want to do is add our title. I always like the title of my menu item to be the same as the article. That to me just makes sense. There's that alias again that we talked about previously. If we want this to be its own standalone new menu item, we're going to highlight top. That means it's going to show up at the top of the menu. If we want it to be a sub-menu, we would highlight, for example, home. That would create a sub-menu like what you see here, sample. Since sample is a sub-menu, if we wanted to create another tertiary menu of that sub-menu, we would just highlight the sub-menu, and that's going to create a second tertiary menu, just like what you see here for sample 2. Because we're creating this together as an example, I'm just going to highlight top. We're just going to create a brand new menu item together. If we want this published, we're going to want to make sure that we've toggled on that it's okay, that yes, it's published. We're going to determine if this is going to pop up in the same browser or if we want a new window for this. Since this link is going to be to an article within your website, there's no reason to have it open up in a new window. That could be beneficial, though, if you're having your member fill out a membership application or if it's an external link. That way they can be completing the membership application or navigating the new site while keeping your website up as well. We're going to set that group access up again. So we set it up for the article. We also can set it up for the menu item. For members only, a lot of times what I see is they want people to see that the menu item exists. They want non-members to see, yeah, there's member-only resources in here, right? Because this is stuff that you guys could get if they were a member with you. But when you click on it, if you permission it so that non-members cannot see the article itself, they'll try to click on the menu item, and then they're just going to be taken to a page that says you do not have permission to view this article. So that kind of reiterates the membership benefits they could be gaining if they were a member with you. Lastly, we actually need to tell this button when your members click it where they're going. So when they click on that button, members only, where will they be taken to? And so we're going to choose members only. That'll actually bring up the members only article. And at this point, we just need to save. And now you'll see the extended kind of menu tree. And if we go to the front end of your website and we refresh, we're going to see that members only tab pop up. If we click it, we'll see that little example article that we created together. I know that's a lot of clicking. Any questions on creating the article and then how we just had that article show up as part of the main menu?
I think I got it.
Okay. You'll probably have to watch this. You'll probably have to watch that through a few times because it is a lot of clicks. But just the biggest takeaway is always remember, first you have to create the article. Then you can link it up to a menu item. Okay?
Perfect. Okay.
And that's kind of everything for today as far as getting through. I usually go through the calendar. Have you felt comfortable using the calendar, or do you want me to recap that with you anyways?
I think we're good. Yeah, it was super easy, and yeah, obviously it was very easy for me to figure out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it looks absolutely perfect. I wouldn't make any edits or changes. So yeah, you did a great job. Since we have a couple minutes, I'm going to go over the contact center with you guys for just a moment, if that's okay.
Yes.
Good. Okay. So we're going to go, and let me give you a brief outline because I have some associations that really just, they're like, if they see a button there, they want to know what it's for. And so today in our training, we went through the articles tab. That's where we create new articles. Categories. So this has to do with permissions in the system that we set. You guys will never need to use this. This is purely for member clicks. Same thing with front page. You guys will never need to use this. Keep in mind and remember, the front page of your website is pulling from those widgets, that homepage main, homepage left, and homepage right. You'll never need to use this front page area to change those areas, right? You'll just do it within the widgets.
Got it. Okay.
We talked about our media manager. That's that in-house file store where you can save documents and images. Talked about menu items. That's how we actually link our articles up to one of the 4 menu items available. We've talked about our widgets. And so those are all of those different responsive areas. That's how you access your sponsor slider images, your hero image content, member landing page name tag, the login page information, all those different widgets that we discussed. Sponsor ads is available, but you are not using the sponsor ads. You're using the sponsor ads logo widget, where you just add in the logos next to each other. The difference, just to tell you the difference, if at any point in time you start selling sponsorship space on your website.
We have a company that does that for us.
Oh. Well, you can do that through member clicks through forms. Do they buy it based on the length that they can be shown on your website, or by like how many times their logo pops up on your website?
I believe how many times their logo pops up.
Oh, okay. Well, we can technically do that for you. So we can actually add, if you don't want just a slideshow of sponsor logos, which is what you currently have, the sponsor ads actually allows you to monitor, like, okay, this logo can show up 5,000 times, and then after that, it won't show up anymore. So technically, we could do that for you. I'll send you some info on sponsor ads, and so if you want to add that versus using what you're doing now, just let me know and we can do that for you.
We still want those things.
Well, yeah, we want both because we are going to use the sponsorship on the side for our partners, but this is a separate thing that we have an agreement with the company.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Okay. News. Yeah, you can have both. News feeds, you will never use news feeds. It's really just an overcomplicated thing, I think. So I've never had an association use news feeds. Global check-in, this is kind of a one that you'll probably never use either, but if by chance two of you happen to be working on the same article at the same time, the system may lock you out so that you're not making edits on top of each other. If you go to global check-in, it'll show you what articles are locked and you can unlock them. It's as simple as just like, it's like a checkbox and it says like this article is locked, and then you just uncheck it and it'll unlock it.
Great.
And then view my site obviously allows you to see the front end of your site. So that's kind of everything in the website tab. Now we're going to go to community. We're going to go to contact center. In the contact center, if you were going to send an email to every single person in your database, you could easily toggle all recipients on all pages. We also should have talked about on your database training how you can bring members in from the profile list into the contact center. So you can use that advanced search feature to search by the different attributes in the system. You can tag them, bring them into the contact center, and if there are only 100 people that are part of that targeted search that you did, those 100 people would be brought over into the contact center. We will be going back through that process together again throughout our trainings. Definitely before we launch, because when you get ready to send out the welcome email, you usually want to send out a welcome email to members, and then you usually want to send out a separate one to prospects. And so I'm going to teach you guys how to use that advanced search and the profile list to target your members versus non-members and emailing them. So we'll go through that again together. But if you just wanted to send something to every single person, or if you wanted to just come in here and create some new templates, you could access the contact center just by going to community and contact center. I'm going to add 3 templates in here for you guys, which I have not added yet, but there will be 3 email templates. There will be a welcome email, there will be a newsletter template, and there will be a basic email template that I'm going to create for you all. If you wanted to create your own templates, like if you've used some templates in your previous site that you really love, you can come in here and, of course, throw that HTML into our HTML editor, give that a subject name, and then you'll be able to save that message. So I'm just going to type in here, example, and we'll say save this message. Now you'll notice that we have a template. We can preview our templates. I just wrote examples, so that's why it looks like this. You can load the template, which is going to bring it into our email. You can copy it, so if you liked it, but you just want to make a couple of small changes, you could copy it, and then we could delete it as well. A couple of things that I want to go ahead and talk about with our contact center. So everything that you can do in the articles that we created together today, you can do in email, except for create those buttons. So you know how I mentioned that you can make internal or external links, and then using heading 6 creates the button. Buttons do not work in emails, but all of those other features do. If you wanted to add in, did you have a question? I'm sorry.
You still do an external link, it just won't be in the fancy button. Correct?
Exactly, yes, that's exactly right. And all of your links you'll add the same way. So external links, you use the link up here. Internal links, you use the site links button at the bottom. Adding an image, you would use your image button at the bottom. You can even merge data into your emails, so that way you can personalize them with your members' first names or last names. You'll notice that there is this button down at the bottom that allows you to attach a file. I wish that we would just remove that. If I was you guys, I would never, ever, 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 ever attach an external file like this. If you ever want to include a file in an email, remember, you can save it in your media manager and link it as an internal link, right? So you can link documents that way. The reason I would never do it as an attachment is because that greatly increases the chances of your emails winding up in spam folders. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing about our contact center, anytime you send out an email, it's going to sit in a queue for 5 minutes. So if you're like me, where you always go back and reread the emails that you just sent out to, all of your members, and you're like, oh crap, I can't believe I missed that typo, or holy cow, I forgot to link that up. You can always cancel it in that 5-minute window. Because of that, sometimes I get complaints because when you guys are I personally like to send emails to myself first to make sure I like the formatting before I send them to everybody else. But that means every time you want to send yourself an email to test it, it has to sit in that 5-minute queue. There's no way to bypass that. I have some associations that hate that. And I say, well, for the 80% of us that are not perfect, we really appreciate it. But anyways, just to kind of forewarn you guys on that, you do have the ability to send these messages now. You can also schedule these for a later date. So my thing, if you're up at night and it's 11 o'clock and you just finished up an email, you can schedule it to go out at 6 o'clock in the morning, and your entire member database will be like, wow, she is up working really early this morning. She is on top of her game. So you have the ability to schedule those. When you guys send an email, it will automatically take you to the message reporting center. So if I sent this right now, it would just by default take us there. I'm not going to send anything right now, but we can also access that by going to reporting and messages. And so cool. It looks like you guys have already maybe been playing around. Is that right?
Yeah, been playing around.
Cool beans. I love it. So any notifications that came out from the system, you'll be able to see who they went to, where they went. So I can open up this MSCA Summer Convention invoice. I'll be able to view the attachment, which is the invoice. So it's downloaded. We can open that up and view it together. Looks so good. You guys are blowing me away. You can view the total recipients. I could click on that number 1 and it's going to show me who it went to. I can see that it was opened. You can also view if it failed, if there was no email address, if it bounced, or if the individual unsubscribed. You can also see how many times any of the URLs linked to the message were clicked. And then you can also view the message. I did have a member of one of my associations bring up a great point. And so if you guys don't necessarily want to save all of your templates, you don't have to. You can always save the message from the message reporting center. So if you don't want to have 100 templates saved in your contact center, and then one day you go, man, I really want to use that MSCA Summer Convention message again, you can just save the message and it'll become a template that you have access to use.
Gotcha. Okay.
And yeah, so because we didn't have to go through the calendar stuff, we were able to talk about some other things, which is really awesome. This is all I have for you guys today. I'm going to send a content follow-up. I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording. But before I do that, any questions, anything that we didn't cover that you were hoping we would today, or are you guys feeling confident in the system right now?
I think we're feeling okay.
Okay.
I want to get in and play a little bit.
Yeah, definitely get your hands in there and start playing around. Definitely updating that first front page of the website using the widgets. That's going to be a great exercise for you guys to start feeling confident in navigating the website portion of the site. I'm going to make sure you have plenty of resources that will help you along. And then I'm also going to send you the information on the sponsor ads. So you can play around with that. I mean, you guys are self-starters, so you can go ahead and play around with that with the information I provide. And I'll go ahead and send you the social community video. So anything you didn't feel super confident about that Jay went over with y'all, you can go back and watch that video. And then, like I said, I'll send you the content follow-up, and then I'll have all of your database imported by end of day tomorrow. And then I think other than that, we're good. Have you guys scheduled your forms training with me yet?
No, we have not.
go ahead and use that link. Y'all feel free to schedule that, you know, anywhere on my calendar that you can find some time available. We're ready to do that next. And if I don't have forms from you yet, please send those to me before the training. I don't think I do. Am I wrong?
I thought I had seen you do. All of them.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I'll go back and I'll look at those and I'll make sure that we have at least one in there completed for that forms training, and then we're going to create one together as well. But then any forms that you've sent to me, I'll make sure they're done. So just schedule that anytime. We're ready for the forms training. We're moving right along. All right. Well,
Awesome.
Thank you, ladies. Thanks, y'all, so much for your time today. I really appreciate you. I'm glad you guys were able to continue to move forward in the process while I was out on vacation. And other than that, I'll just talk to you when we get ready or once you've scheduled the forms training, okay?
Great. Thank you, Adrienne.
Thank you, ladies. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.